Hello friends, welcome to our channel World of Mysteries. The title of the video must have made you wonder what exactly is Sugar Daddy Ask Me for Weird Favor. So 4 years ago, this story was posted on Reddit by an anonymous user. Looking at the summary of the story, let's assume that this story was posted by a girl and let's name her Claire. So Claire was a broke university student who was completing her education degree, but her economic situation was very bad and she was in dire need of money. Once she was looking for someone to meet on Tinder, she saw a profile that said, "Looking for sugar baby. $700 weekly and no sex." But will it be true? She fell into this thought. His age was written on his profile as 45, but looking at his photo, he looked to be in his early 30s. In need of money, Claire swiped her profile right and was willing to take a chance. After swiping right on the profile, within a few moments Tinder's notification came that the profile has been matched, and the next moment he texted, "Hey there, sweetheart." Claire didn't feel good about this message, but it was worth $700, so she replied. His name was Jack. Jack told that he had his own business, although he never said what the business was for. They talked for a while. Jack asked Claire for her Venmo for her first payment. A short time later, Claire got a notification that $700 had been received. Claire sat staring at that amount for half an hour, as if it was a dream. $700 was too much for her. She had never seen so much money together. "You steal there?" After receiving the money, Jack messaged. Claire replied, "Yeah, sorry if you don't mind me asking, what are you looking for in return?" It's obvious question from Claire because why any random guy gives so much money? He replied, "I'm just looking for you to do a few favors for me." It sounded like he was going to be sexual to her. Jack replied, "For example, the first thing I need you to do is pick up a delivery for me." And that sounded innocent enough to Claire, so she was still expecting there to be some kind of twist because no one gonna give you $700 to pick up a package. Then she asked, "From the post office or something?" He replied, "No, I will send you the address, but he said rather not to do this through Tinder, you got Kick, or you can give me your number." Claire felt very weird. Because he asked for Kick, no one was using Kick at that time. Instead, she gave her number. He texted his address, immediately followed by the address to his house where she would have to drop off the package. "I am not home right now, but there is a key on the bottom of the blue flower pot near the door. Go inside, put the package on the coffee table in the living room. Make sure that you lock the door when you go inside the house and then lock again when you leave." Claire grabbed car keys and wallet and got into her car, putting the address into Google Maps. After some time again, Jack texted Claire, "I am serious, lock the door both the times, please." She thought that was a little excessive, but she promised him that she would do this. Soon she reached the given address. The house looked abandoned. It had a broken chain-link fence around it with the small door that was hanging on to dear life. It stuck out like a sore thumb, surrounded by houses that were a lot nicer than this one in comparison. Claire walked in and heard a loud noise coming from the house. "You here for, Jack?" Shit. She looked up to see a man standing in the open doorway of house. He took up almost entire space, not moving from her spot. Claire replied, Yeah, I guess," that man said. "Stay right there and don't move." Claire was a bit scared as she looked around and realized that no one was there except a single girl in her 20s. She gripped her car keys. A few minutes later, the man came back out carrying a cardboard box. It was about the size of shoebox but stained and damp on some of the corners. "Can you open your car?" he asked. She put that parcel in the car and immediately left from there. She walked around to the driver's side of the car and opened the door. "Oh, and one more thing," he said. She looked at him. "Watch out," he said. She didn't reply. She blasted her music as she drove to Jack's house, hoping it would drown her anxiety. It didn't. Soon she reached at Jack's house. She parked her car in the stone driveway and stayed inside the car, admiring the house. It was a huge house, with stone pillars on the front porch, and the greenest grass she had ever seen in her life. She turned the car off and got out. She grabbed the package and walked to the front door, getting the key from where he said it would be. She opened the door and stepped in, closing it behind me. She thought about what he had said, about locking the door when I got inside. She thought that was a little overboard, but as she stared at the closed door, something made her reach out and lock it. She walked inside, her feet cushioned by the thick maroon carpet, and admired the inside of the house. All the furniture was wooden and looked incredibly expensive. She would probably finish school a dozen times with the money that it took to furnish this place. She set the package down on the coffee table, and as she walked back to the door, she heard a phone ringing from somewhere inside the house. She froze. In her pocket, her phone buzzed. She took it out to look. Don't answer any calls that aren't from Marvin. She put her phone back and followed the sound of the phone, poking her head into a few different rooms before she found it in an office. She walked over to the desk and looked at the caller ID. An incoming call from Jack. That was odd. She grabbed her phone to look at the message again. She was starting to get a little bit creeped out and decided she wouldn't answer, just to be safe, and left the house, remembering to lock the door as she left. She have done a few more favors for Jack since then, like she drove a BMW to a random park in another city, only to get out and drive a different car back to Jack's house. He had her meet one of his employees, but at lunch, who then gave her a briefcase to deliver to the first house she had gone to and told her. He would know if I looked inside. On several occasions he asked her to drive down to that same house and stay with the guy, whose name was Julio, for a certain amount of time. Everything was going smoothly with little weirdness and suspense. In total, she made around $3,500 in few weeks. The final favor. Most recently, Jack asked her to stay in his house overnight. She woke up to a text message from him. I need you to spend the night at my house. She hadn't ever seen him in person, but she had talked to him on the phone a few times. He proceeded to tell me he would pay her $1,000 to spend the night at his house, provided that she need follow a few rules. Everything was going fine, so Claire was ready to do this favor again. She drove to his house that evening. The driveway was empty, and it normally was, but the porch light was on. She walked up, unlocked the door, went inside, and then locked it again. Everything in the house looked the same. Jack had told her over the phone that he would leave the list of rules on the dining room table. She set all her stuff down in the living room. Her bags looked like garbage compared to the fancy furniture in there. She wandered into the kitchen, and then to the dining room. Sure enough, there was a piece of paper on the wooden table, held down by an empty glass. And the mentioned rules are: lock the door when you come in. Only answer calls from Marvin. Don't turn on any faucets between 9 p.m. and 11 p.m. Don't open the door for anyone, no matter who they say they are, after 10 p.m. If the door to the closet at the end of the hall is open, sleep in the library. If closed, sleep in any of the bedrooms. The gardener comes at midnight. If he starts knocking on the windows, hide. Turn the TV on and let it play on static through the night. Do not forget to do this. Help yourself to anything in the fridge. I'll pay you in the morning. Good night. She made sure to follow all the rules. To be honest, she was regretting her decision, but seeing as she was already there and she was getting paid, she decided to stay anyway. She figured as long as she followed all the rules, I'd be perfectly fine. Still, it felt a little odd to her. What was this? A haunted house. Nevertheless, she lounged around the house for a few hours, as she was planning on going to sleep around 9. Since that's the time that all the weird shit would begin to happen. At 8:50, she brushed her teeth, using the faucet for the last time before 9. She checked the closet in the hallway, and upon seeing that it was open, she moved her stuff into the library and got ready to sleep on the couch. She locked the doors just in case, and laid on the couch, scrolling through her phone. She hadn't gotten any more messages from Jack, and she started to think up scenarios and reasons as to why he had such strict, peculiar sets of rules in his house. She had dozed off at some point because at exactly 10:16 p.m., she was woken up by the doorbell ringing. She was about to get up to check, but then she remembered the rule. Don't open the door for anyone, no matter who they say they are, after 10 p.m. She stayed on the couch, trying not to move, paranoid that they would hear even the slightest sound. It's the police. Open up. She didn't move. Hello? It's the police. Open up or we're coming in. She still didn't move, but she could hear her heartbeat in her ears. Her heartbeat was pounding. There was silence for a while after that. Then the doorbell rang again. "Hey, it's Jack." "Let me in." It sounded like Jack, but still she didn't get up. He would have a key, wouldn't he? Why would he need me to let him in? She thought. This continued for almost a full hour. Different people would ring the doorbell, announce themselves, and then disappear when she didn't respond. She was finally able to fall asleep, and the gardener never came. When she woke up the next morning, she heard someone in the kitchen. She got up slowly and unlocked the door as quietly as possible, taking her phone with her and walked across the living room and into the kitchen. She stopped at the entrance and peered in. It was Jack. He was standing in front of the stove, stirring something as the coffee machine brewed coffee on the counter behind him. "Hey, good morning," he said when he saw her. "Hi," she replied, in quite nervousness. She hadn't seen him in person before, but he looked exactly like his pictures online. "Scrambled eggs?" he asked, motioning to the pan with a wooden spoon. "Yeah, thanks," she replied, walking over to take the plate from him. She ate her breakfast and drank some coffee in silence. "So how was it?" he asked. "It was okay. Nothing super freaky happened," she replied. "Cool," he replied. There was an awkwardness in the room. "I think I'm going to go now. I have class." I trailed off. She didn't. But she really wanted to get out of there. "Oh no, yeah, sure, I'll talk to you some other time," he replied. She grabbed her stuff and he walked me to my car. She could see him standing in the driveway staring at me as she left. When she got home, she unpacked all her stuff and noticed that she still had the list with her. She sat on her bed and read it again. She felt her body tense up as she realized that she has forgotten something. Turn the TV on and let it play on static through the night. Do not forget to do this. Do not forget to do this. She stared at the words on the page until they lost meaning. Beside her, phone buzzed, snapping her back to reality. It was the $1,000 payment. She looked at my phone and then back at the list. Maybe it wasn't an important step. As she was thinking this over, a text from Jack came in. "I'm not in town right now. I should be back next week, so you're free from running any more errands for me until then. Just sent the payment. Go do something fun." She stared at the message and read it again. "I'm not in town right now." She thought back to that morning and how Jack was in his house. How he gave me breakfast. Within minutes, a new text came in, this time from a number that she didn't recognize. "Did you forget to do something?" The text was followed by a picture of Jack, or whoever this version of Jack was, standing in front of the TV. She didn't respond. Next came another picture. This one was of the outside of her house. It was followed by another text. "Watch out." And here the story ends. And also the weird favors from Sugar Daddy also ends. Actually, Claire forgotten two things to do. If you watch the video carefully, you will get that, and comment down it in comments section. If you liked our video, please do like, comment, share, and do subscribe.